provides a comprehensive approach for a pest-free environment for both residential and commercial clients. Our services include lawn spraying and fungus control services to ensure the safety of your family and pets, commercial pest and rodent control, pre-construction soil treatment, subterranean termite control, and tent fumigation. Call Glen Barrows International Pest Control at 465-2935 or 469-5294. Glen Barrows International Pest Control, setting new standards in pest control.
With news from across the Federation, spanning the region and covering the globe, this is the KyssFM SKN News Now Morning Edition, your one-true source for news. And now your presenter.
Good morning. Today is Friday, 3rd March, 2017. I'm Leslie Joseph. This is the SKN News Now Morning Edition, brought to you with the kind compliments of Glen Barrows Pest Control and Guest House. These are the top stories this hour. Nationally, the Sir Robert L. Bradshaw Institute of Politics, Governance and Industrial Relations has been launched. Regionally, the Guyana Revenue Authority says it will be going after private schools which are non-tax compliant. Internationally, U.S. Attorney General Jeff Sessions has recused himself from further probes into Donald Trump's campaign connections with Russia. And in sport, the West Indies begin their battle against England today at the Sir Vivian Richards Stadium in Antigua. Now for a look at the stories in detail. The Robert L. Bradshaw Institute of Politics, Governance and Industrial Relations was launched last evening at the Malton Moving Conference Room of the Eastern Caribbean Central Bank. The launch was spearheaded by the Robert L. Bradshaw Centennial Committee in collaboration with the St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party and the St. Kitts Nevis Trades and Labour Union. St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party leader, the Right Honourable Dr. Denzel Douglas, expressed his contentment at the establishment of the Institute, highlighting its purpose as one that is principally important to the Federation and the Caribbean region on a whole.
It is most gratifying to know that we as a people, that we understand the importance of ensuring that the principles by which Robert Llewellyn Bradshaw lived are being discussed and documented and enshrined for all time. To know that the skills, the perseverance and the character that Robert Llewellyn Bradshaw so steadfastly placed at the disposal of these islands, our region, will through the Robert Llewellyn Bradshaw Institute forever live on.
Dr. Douglas also remarked that the establishment of the Institute represented a responsible step toward furthering the development of the people of St. Kitts and Nevis as well as the wider Caribbean.
We gather tonight because we know that it is not enough. Of course, it is not enough to simply remember Mr. Bradshaw. Nor is it enough for us to simply talk about him. We gather here tonight, therefore, because the opportunities and the challenges of the 21st century and beyond, they demand that we take a deliberate, a structured, and responsible approach to the development of our people. Development not only in terms of the roads or buildings or bridges or this edifice which came under his time that we can point to, but in terms of who and what we are as human beings. The Robert Llewellyn Bradshaw Institute of Politics, Governance and Industrial Relations will advance further our development as a people by striving to instill within petitions and divisions, that focus, that insight, and the integrity that Sir Robert L. Bradshaw apart, and which forever changed the standing and prospects of the people of our two islands.
The Eastern Caribbean Central Bank on Thursday, 2nd March, held a ceremony to rename the Phase 1 building after its former governor, the late Sir K. Dwight Venner. Prime Minister Dr. the Honorable Timothy Harris remarked that naming the building in Sir Dwight's honor was most befitting.
The naming of the building in Sir Dwight's honor is indeed a fitting tribute to his sterling service, especially given the fact that the building is the first one to be erected under his governorship. The visionary nature of the man, shown from early in his tenure at the bank, when it was recognized that the bank had outgrown the space that was provided for its use, to the point where the offices were located in several buildings across beautiful Bastia. The successful completion of the Phase 1 building, which was officially opened in October 1994, 5 years after his assuming the governorship, then brought all departments of the bank under a single roof and one compound. This undoubtedly would have improved the overall efficiency, productivity, and security of the bank.
Also present at the ceremony was Prime Minister of Antigua and Barbuda, Gaston Brown. Brown,
Sir
present
Dwight was
chairman
a
of the
true integrationist.
Brown, present chairman of the Eastern Caribbean Monetary Council, testified of Sir Dwight's dedication to service, his intellectual prowess, and a push for regional integration.
Sir Dwight was a true integrationist, and certainly one of the region's foremost economists, one of the region's most impressive intellectuals. He was a regional public servant who dedicated his entire adult life to public service, and certainly a visionary, someone who presided over the stability of the Eastern Caribbean Currency Union.
Governor of the ECCB, Timothy Antoine, hailed Sir Dwight as an inspiration to many persons throughout the Caribbean region. This, he declared, was Sir Dwight's true legacy.
Indeed, the towering tree that is Sir Dwight looms large, providing inspiration for all those whose lives he touched and all those who traverse these fair isles and beyond. Today we have assembled to honor Sir Dwight, our longest-serving governor, a record that will not be broken. Indeed, after his retirement, I conferred on him the title Governor Emeritus and continue to call him Gov. And of course, we both laughed about that. May his name emblazoned on our ECCB campus bear perpetual testimony to his colossal contribution, not just to the Eastern Caribbean Central Bank, but to our Caribbean people and Caribbean civilization. The buildings which we witness around us are impressive, but his greatest legacy is not the buildings we see, but you, his children, and the Caribbean sons and daughters, some of which are gathered today, who have witnessed his work over time. He continues to inspire a generation to believe that people from small states can dream big things and can accomplish great things. That we can craft arrangements that serve our development well and can stand the test of time. I am one such believer.
Sir Dwight was the second and longest-serving governor of the ECCB, joining the bank in December 1989 and retiring in November 2015, a 26-year-long tenure. During his time as governor, he initiated numerous reforms which facilitated the expansion and stability of the ECCU banking and financial system throughout many financial crises. He was the architect of the ECCB's affiliate institutions, namely the Eastern Caribbean Securities Exchange, ECSE, the Eastern Caribbean Institute of Banking and Finance, ECIB, and the Eastern Caribbean Home Mortgage Bank, ECHMB. Sir Dwight died on December 22, 2016, at the age of 70. Regionally, the controversy in Guyana over persons having to pay value-added tax on school fees has taken an interesting turn. The Guyana Revenue Authority, GRA, says they plan to go after those private schools which have not been making their tax payments. Noting that the top 8 private schools in the country make a total of more than 2 billion Guyana dollars annually, the GRA says many, although registered with the GRA, are non-compliant, while others have attempted to completely circumvent the tax system.
Amidst criticism and protests over the 14% VAT charge by the government on private tuition, Finance Minister Winston Jordan and head of the Guyana Revenue Authority, Godfrey Stacia, faced the press to give their reasoning for the implementation of the tax. Jordan said 8 of the top private schools raked in $2 billion for last year.
By the way, I'm not knocking any school on their fees. I'm just merely stating a fact. I would not do that. It's a private business, and private businesses are entitled to charge whatever they feel the market can bear. Right? It's up to the purchasers of the service to determine whether they will purchase the service or not. But I'm not going to knock any private institution as relates to their fee setting. This is an interesting statistic. The top 8 of these private institutions have income in excess of $2 billion a year.
Jordan said to make matters worse, out of the 54 private schools, 8 are in compliance. He further added that some of the schools have registered as non-profit organizations.
And another thing we need to, of course, I told you most of these institutions are not tax compliant. And what do we mean by tax compliant? A, they do not submit, almost all do not submit returns for their employees. In fact, what they do is tell the employee that they are contracted and they're responsible for their PAYE and the NIS. They don't submit returns. They don't submit employers' returns. They don't file income tax returns for the business, and they don't file property tax returns for the business. I will say it clearly that even if you have the status of a not-for-profit organization, under the law you must file annual returns.
Minister Jordan explained that no link should be drawn between the implementation of the 14% VAT on private tuition and the tax status of the schools.
I want to separate the issues because I don't want... what I was recommending was only a way out, but I don't want to suggest that the VAT on tuition fees was meant to be absorbed by the thing. The VAT on tuition fees is part of our broader initiative of widening the tax base. Okay? And I'm saying to the extent that there are poor students attending private institutions paying, that perhaps one way could be a system worked out with the school that they absorb part of it and the parent absorb a part of it, or the school absorbs all of it and the parent doesn't have to pay it, in which case the school can then claim a tax deductible expense.
Jordan said 11 of the 54 schools are recognized by the Ministry of Education. 10% are non-profit, while 26% of the number are registered for VAT. The minister also explained that several schools have claimed in excess of $150 million in VAT returns from the GRA for items they would have purchased, such as textbooks. However, despite claiming returns, they are still to pass the VAT on to parents, and he questioned whether the money was returned to the parents. The government was heavily criticized for the implementation of the VAT on private tuition, with a number of schools stating that their students will drop out from their institutions.
Another island is reporting a peaceful, incident-free carnival. During a press conference on Thursday, Dominica's police press officer thanked revelers for giving their full cooperation to law enforcement agents. Following recent political upheaval on the island, there was a marked increase in both police and army personnel on the streets during the Dominica Carnival celebrations. Prezia Julian reports.
Public Relations Officer of the Commonwealth of Dominica Police Force, Inspector Pelham John Baptist, commends revelers for making this year's Carnival celebrations a peaceful one. In an interview with GIS News on Thursday, John Baptist said he is pleased with the cooperation police received from civilians.
Mass Dominic 2017, from the police perspective, on a scale of 1 to 10, we'll get a rating of 9.75 for overall behavior and compliance with arrangements and cooperation with the police.
John Baptist revealed that the police was satisfied with the new carnival route, which was geared towards ensuring a safer carnival.
We were satisfied with the new route. It eliminated some danger areas on the old route. That's Hanover Street, this dark area. And we believe that the public accepted that new road. The bayfront is large, well lighted, and that would eliminate this dark area where the trucks had difficulty also going through that area, and also patrons will not be safe. There are truck tires and everything else. You could have had people getting injured. So this new road, I believe, worked for the public, and I think it will be assessed by the public, and of course the Carnival Committee and DFC at some other time.
He also noted that police presence is an important aspect of the Dominica Police Force. John Baptist says the force continues to ensure that the public is aware of their presence, and this carnival season was no exception.
For Carnival 2017, we were present, we were out there in numbers. Not to harass people, not to impede you in enjoying yourself, but to send a message that those who are bent on breaking the law and disrupting carnival festivities, we are out there to prevent that. We were out in numbers.
The police public relations officer says even while the police were present in larger numbers, a few minor incidents were reported.
The carnival was peaceful. We had 2 incidents that were outside carnival which we won't dwell on at all. Sadly they happened, but it's outside of carnival hours and carnival festivities. We had a few arrests in Rosa for minor incidents. Disorderly conduct, carrying of weapons, and we keep educating the public on the On the Beat program. Every Friday from 7 to 8 on DBS Radio, we educate the public. Young people must understand, you cannot come to carnival or any fete with a weapon. It's not part of your dressing. Okay, and they keep doing that. So we had 2 policemen who got injured. It happened again last year. It's unfortunate that the police have to step in, and if they didn't step in, there would maybe be a death among these young people. But the police, they committed, they stepped in unarmed, where young people have knives and whatever else, fighting, and they got injured.
On the international scene, U.S. Attorney General Jeff Sessions has said he will stay out of any probe into alleged Russian meddling in the 2016 presidential election, but maintained he did nothing wrong by failing to disclose he met last year with Russia's ambassador.
Stepping aside, U.S. Attorney General Jeff Sessions says he won't be involved in any probe into alleged ties between Russia and the Trump campaign.
I have now decided to recuse myself from any existing or future investigations of any matter relating in any way to the campaigns for President of the United States.
Calls for his recusal have been mounting after revelations that Sessions met with the Russian ambassador twice last year, while he was still an advisor to the Trump campaign. During his confirmation hearing, Sessions said he'd had no communications with the Russians. But the former senator slightly altered his line of defense this Thursday, after the U.S. Justice Department confirmed the meetings did take place.
Let me be clear. I never had meetings with Russian operatives or Russian intermediaries about the Trump campaign. And the idea that I was part of a, quote, continuing exchange of information during the campaign between Trump surrogates and intermediaries for the Russian government is totally false.
Despite the political storm surrounding Sessions, Donald Trump is standing by him. The White House has called the reports a partisan attack against Republican administration.
Mr. President, do you still have confidence in the Attorney General's total?
This Thursday, USA Today revealed at least 2 other officials in Trump's presidential campaign met with the Russian ambassador back in July. It's the latest blow for the US president, as allegations of Russian interference with his administration keep emerging.
After the European Union Parliament revoked her parliamentary immunity, French presidential candidate Marine Le Pen accused the European Union of breaking up society and promised to renegotiate France's agreements with the bloc.
The European Union will be the last to feed illusions and to ruin the people of Europe with its subscription to the globalist ideology that promises our territories for looting and leading our society towards fragmentation. We will begin a total renegotiation of all the European agreements in order to get back our monetary, legislative, territorial, and economic sovereignty, followed by a referendum on Frexit. We will not be the first, and nor will we be the last ones on this path. Not all French know it yet, but the truth will come to light in the coming month. The euro is just a dead man walking. The question is no longer whether we will exit the euro, but when and under which conditions.
The Parliament's decision follows a second round of voting held by EU lawmakers.
Who votes for waiving immunity for Marine Le Pen? The results are clear. The broad majority have backed this.
Le Pen may now face prosecution for tweeting pictures of Islamic State violence. In her latest interview on a French channel, the presidential candidate dubbed the allegations politically motivated. And member of the European Parliament David Coburn feels it's an unprecedented attack on the freedom of speech.
This is an absolute scandal. The lights are going out all over Europe on freedom of speech. And the European Parliament, which continues to maintain that it is the mother of European democracy, has obviously given up that responsibility. And I agree with many other politicians who now say that this is going to help Madame Le Pen get elected. You can see that this is a plot by the establishment to nobble her, and it's not going to work. And it's the European Parliament interfering in French internal affairs.
And now we take a look at sport. In cricket, the West Indies and England rekindled their old rivalry today at the Sir Vivian Richards Stadium in Antigua. Rainy conditions on the island are not expected to have too much of an impact on play, and large crowds are expected, particularly as government workers have been given half the day off in order to attend the match. Sean Green filed this report ahead of the start of the game.
After a fruitful and entertaining regional Super 50, the final West Indies team is ready to take on England. The Windies unit is made up entirely of a new generation of cricketers under the leadership of the improving Jason Holder. What the regional tournament did was provide Kieran Powell an opportunity to revive his international career. And if it's one thing which the Windies need badly in limited overs and test, is someone to partner Craig Brathwaite at the top. I will have no problem with the attacking Evan Lewis punching at 3. Shea Hope, though, has proven that he loves batting one down, but he's still good enough to handle the spot at number 4.
Beautifully played.
And once he's not wasted as an opener, which he clearly isn't. In Antigua, you need good spinners, and the off-spin of the tournament's top wicket-taker Ashley Nurse, along with Devendra Bishu's leggies, could be a handful on those tracks. And if Shannon Gabriel continues to bowl quickly, his pace can back up the likes of Holder, Carlos Brathwaite, Rovman Powell, and perhaps even Jonathan Carter if needed. Now, one notable point is that they'll be playing under a new Australian coach in Stuart Law. On the British end, this will be the first time that both sides will be meeting internationally since the T20 World Cup, which went the way of the Windies, though being in a shorter format. They have the irrepressible Joe Root, who's a danger in any format, as well as the likes of Johnny Bairstow, Ben Stokes, and their skipper Ian Morgan. England have won both warm-up games in St Kitts and have already adjusted to the conditions. They too have a dangerous spin twin in Alid Rashid and Moeen Ali. I would say that the England team is much more experienced on paper than the West Indies, but the home advantage can level the playing field.
And And that item brings us to the end of the KyssFM SKN News Now Morning Edition, brought to you with the kind compliments of Glenbarrow's Pest Control and Guest House. Join us again at 5:45 for our comprehensive evening news package. I am Leslie Joseph.
Glenbarrow's International Pest Control provides a comprehensive approach for a pest-free environment for both residential and commercial clients. Our services include lawn spraying and fungus control services to ensure the safety of your family and pets, commercial pest and rodent control, pre-construction soil treatment, subterranean termite control, and tent fumigation. Call Glenbarrow's International Pest Control at 465-2935 or 469-5294. Glenbarrow's International Pest Control, setting new standards in pest control.